Fuck out of here, fool. What's going on out there, my Showcast family? We back at you once again, man. We're on episode 22. I'm your host, DJ 1011, with my co-host,
G. Dillon.
G, what the fuck is happening, man? What's happening, man?
Man, just, trying to make it happen. Holiday season.
Holiday season, man.
I mean,
holiday season be good and bad, man. I don't, you know how it goes, though.
Well, I mean, I don't really get that much a damn about Christmas necessarily. I mean, it's cool. It's a nice time of the year.
Hey, man, that's why you got on your green sweater. You a fucking Grinch, man.
And all of that. But, I just ain't never all that fired up about it. But my family, my significant other and my son, that's their thing. So, hey, I'm a support it as best I can. And not be talking shit. Because, the last thing I want to do is let my bullshit affect how somebody else feels or make their experience, make their experience less than it should be. So it ain't that big a deal to me. But if it's important to some people that I love, then I'm gonna give it its due importance.
Yeah. I love the food and just the family. You don't hardly see that much getting together and shit.
Yeah.
All the extra stuff. When I was a kid, I'm an old man now. So, I mean, I just want the food and to sit around and talk shit with the fam that you don't see on the regular, So,
and like me,
that'd be enough for me.
My family, my family is kind of shrinking. The elders and my family have moved into that next dimension.
Yeah.
So,
upper room.
And then, my generation, and my son's generation, they all kind of had their own families, and so it's hard to get a bunch of people together. And I'm kind of like it used to be.
I'm kind of in that realm too, so that's why I do. That is what I look forward to, seeing the people I ain't seen, and they try to get together. So that's the most part I like about it. I mean, I don't be looking for no gifts. I don't be looking for none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just want some good food, sit around and talk shit, man. And say, hey, man, nigga, I ain't seen you got fat than a motherfucker. Well, I just look forward to that type of shit. So,
and it does make me feel like I got to do a better job, particularly like my generation, all my cousins and whatnot, because we all cool. It ain't, you got to get
together.
Cool,
we got to get together, man, because this life.
Got to holler at each other.
Yeah, this life's short, man. Like what
better.
you just said, you go in that next dimension, man. You look around. And like you said, every now and then, get together, like you said, a few times a year. Ain't got to be every day, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get together, we got to do better. Me and my family, too, same thing. We got to do better. So I do look forward to them times when we can get together. And that is one of the times where people put emphasis on it in my family. So that's all. What's going on, though, man? What we were talking about, we said we'll come back to it. Shaquilla Robinson, they had her services, man. They laid the young lady to rest. And I heard Mexico issued a warrant for the young lady who's attacking her.
Yeah. So it looks like, like you said, that Mexico they're investigating it and they're issuing a warrant. I guess now we have to see what the U.S. is going to do in response. Are they going to try to, I guess the question is being asked, can U.S. courts even try her? Or are they going to have to go ahead and go along with the extradition back to Mexico, which is what I'd like to see.
Me too.
I
you
like
did
to see
it in
that's
Mexico.
Where you did it. Go on back there and do your time down there. Maybe you'll learn a little Spanish while you locked up. But
not a laughing matter, but yeah.
Because I mean, hey, that's some heinous ass shit.
Yeah.
And
to people you feel just to handle your so-called friends at that.
Just off some hating ass jealousy type shit.
That's how I take it.
And and then all of the bulk of the video we've been seeing online, just kind of shows just the beginning of what actually happened.
Right.
Because they saying that girl died from a broken neck, but I guess they saying that the girl picked up and body slammed on her head.
You think, well, we seen one all of it probably.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
You think she did it alone, or you think them other people, somebody else?
I think just like you were saying before that they by singing. All of them, they singing.
They don't turn to Patti LaBelle, David Ruff, and all of them.
But then it's just kind of funny how, like, this generation is so comfortable with putting everything online that they even put they future prosecution evidence online.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You know what I mean?
The online shit they do, man.
Because I'm like you. Everybody who was there should be charged as an accessory.
Yeah, that
and even if it don't stick, make their ass have to come up off some money.
Yeah,
for
the way that this younger generation, man, they don't value life, and death is just so common, and everybody go right along with their business. They done left the next day, and they just went about their fucking business after they done killed this motherfucking girl. Like, it's crazy.
They done thought enough to tell our mama old crazy ass lie.
That's what I'm saying. You talking about alcohol poison? Ain't nobody told you. You got to get that from the doctor. Where y'all get that from? Y'all just assume. If I G up here drunk, I'm gonna be that nigga up there sleep drunk. You be thinking the motherfucker dead. Oh, he had alcohol poison. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And if I can't wake you up, I'm gonna call the people like, I don't know what happened and shit. They done flew back, which I'm sure y'all done pay extra money for some. Get the fuck up out of that flight ticket. I'm sure y'all want to get up out of there the next day. Y'all all went home and think shit just gonna be cool. That don't work.
And they could have got away with that shit. They so dumb. They could have just said that we was partying and she was dancing on one of the coffee tables and fell.
Yeah. You could have said
hit her head. They could have said any old thing.
Or you could have been an upstanding citizen and don't be over there fighting no motherfucker.
Well, yeah.
Who's supposed to be your friend and shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's the first part.
But yeah, the way these young people, man, I mean, because even you know what I'm saying? I want to say rest in peace to a young fella from a guy I grew up in my neighborhood named Herman. He lost his son over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say rest in peace to his son. That's what I'm saying. These young people, they don't value life. Good kid too, man. He wasn't out here doing nothing. He working, up and coming actor. You know what I'm saying? Good kid. So I mean, everybody's puzzled about what happened to that, and they done put some of that shit online. A young guy got ran over, got decapitated after that happened. And they putting the shit online, like you said. I just don't know this generation and the internet. It's terrible, man. I just want to say rest in peace to Xavier Lofton, man. And it bothers me, man. This man lost his son, and him and his son is real close. And trust me, G, he wasn't that type of kid, man. He ain't deserve that.
I think society as a whole. The only time I can remember like hearing similar stuff like this when they used to talk to guys like who came back from Vietnam, has seen a lot of action. You hear about these guys who come from in Afghanistan or the Iraq War. And after you've been under that kind of duress for so long and you see so much death and so much, like I've heard guys saying that they just, like that part of their brain that has remorse or has those type of feelings, it just shuts down.
But where the fuck this come from with this generation? They ain't been in no Afghanistan.
Well, but I think like we've talked about that there are other stresses that a lot of kids or a lot of people deal with coming up. And it may not necessarily be that as much as you see, they see that shit is online. There's nothing that censors any of that shit.
Yeah, not like when I was
we were coming up. There were things that play.
Nigga, you couldn't even cuss on TV.
You got everything.
They couldn't even say hardcore cuss words. They saying everything on
right. We got everything from the television or the radio. And so
or the internet. You can put it up on your phone and you just see it.
Well, see that started kind of in your generation. I'm at a point where I'm old enough that I was in my 20s and shit when cell phones kind of became a thing.
Right.
And that didn't really explode till a few years after that. Prior to that, cell phones and all that, there were no smartphones. So all you could do is make a damn phone call.
Right.
But then the smartphone, so now the internet was kind of there. So if you had a home computer, you could see a lot. But now everybody has that shit with them constantly, and then you can hear about something happening, and then you can
get it right up.
You can
before their
right,
family even find out.
Right.
People saying they have looked on the internet and found out their family member was dead.
Yeah,
on the internet.
And so
that's what I'm saying.
So people become desensitized to that shit.
Yeah, it's bad.
And so you seeing it, and then we've had the discussions talking about music and how that plays a part. You hearing this shit all the time, and it ain't. The thing about it is, it's just they think it's just affecting the black community because that's all they want to highlight. But like we talked about, when you look at them crime reports on the weekend, a whole lot of white folks doing a whole lot of fucked up shit out here.
Everybody, this world fucked up in general
that you don't never hear about.
Nah,
you go to these states that are all white. They all got prisons. They all got jails. They all have they got police getting shot. All of that same shit. And then when you tie poverty into that, it all that shit ain't no different. Anywhere else. But from this respect, I don't never trust the media because, like in Chicago, it's the only folks they want you to think that's out here fucking up are black folks. And true enough, these motherfuckers out here on some dumb ass shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But they not alone.
For sure. Oh no, this world fucked up in general. Can't nobody tell me different. I see it.
And so people need to be a little more aware, particularly how they raise their kids and what they allow their kids to be exposed to coming up.
And I'm big on people just need to give their kids the best chance at life.
Yeah, first of all, you got to let them be kids.
Yeah, you got to let them be kids. Then you got to give them just these environments that you got your kids still living in, and because you want to hang around and be close to this motherfucking club and shit. You got to think about your kid and shit. Well, I don't want to go out there. It's boring and shit. No, they give your kid a better chance, better school system. I done heard a bunch of grown folks say that. Oh, it's boring out there. Motherfucker, you an old, grown motherfucker. You talking about you bored and shit. This is about your kid. Giving them the best opportunities at life, man, because it's rough everywhere, like you said, but certain areas. Come on now. You ain't finna move your motherfucking kid in Inglewood right now and just go in the heart of Inglewood.
Like
you know what I'm saying?
Like my neighborhood is a decent neighborhood for the most part. I mean, there's some shit on the edges.
And then your son, easy.
But like my son, man, I would say my son was probably one of the last ones of like his group to get a cell phone.
Right.
Get a smartphone.
Yeah.
And then even then, he had got his own YouTube page and doing some social media shit. But we monitor that shit and we talk to him about. You gotta be
that's parenting, like you said.
Cause and get him to understand that not everything you get back from this shit is gonna be positive. But you're not involved in that shit looking for any kind of reassurance. You get that from here, from inside these walls.
Exactly. Leaving these rappers and these actors and athletes to be your kid's role model. That ain't what it's supposed to be. And then,
you have to be careful. And I'll even admit this, that, we probably still could have done a better job.
We all can.
In terms of monitoring, in terms of just being really on top of that shit. Because these motherfuckers out here, man, they specialize in trying to make somebody else feel bad about themselves.
That's crazy.
And that's because they hating on themselves. They can't stand themselves.
That's crazy.
Because
you insecure about yourself, you want to try to play on my insecurities and make me feel bad about myself and not try to pursue shit.
That's kind of the world. And let me say this, though. It's always been like that. It's just that it was harder for people to get their fucked up message, or they.
Oh yeah, you got to.
It had to be more face to face. Somebody talking shit.
And you gonna get your fucking teeth knocked out face to face. See, now everybody comfortable behind these keyboards. They talking big shit.
Yep.
Fucking with people and shit. Oh yeah, you had to say it face to face, and we knew a lot of that shit. Motherfucker wasn't gonna say it no motherfucking face.
What was that you said?
You ain't gonna say nothing. You ain't gonna say nothing.
Yep.
I ain't say nothing. Just what I thought. So yeah.
So because I've come to understand, like we talk a lot of shit about this generation, but they ain't really no different. It's just the tools that are available to them are different.
You ain't have it.
But people and kids are kids.
Yeah.
You know, like when we talk about relationships and all, it's all the same.
I think the biggest thing, what you said though, is the parenting. That's what I always think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I always, you know, like I say, people be talking about, oh, it's because the kids having kids. That ain't it. Because my mom and them had kids. They young. They pretty fucking young. But they people were strict, and they had that mentality, and they were strict on us. So I ain't gonna necessarily say that, but it's the parenting. Because you got these grandmas now, they still want to party and shit. You know, our grandmas and shit coming up, they would, what we would consider the traditional grandma and shit. They stayed out. They was raising the kid, helping their daughter. They cooking. They showing you how to wash and all that. These grandmas now, they out partying and shit. And these kids out here raising themselves in these streets and shit, man.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because, you know, like I told you, my son is starting in college, and I was kind of feeling like man, like it's more he could have known or he should know. But, man, there's a lot of kids out here. Like, my son can wash. He know how to wash his own clothes.
Man, kids don't know.
He know how to clean up his own bath. You know, he know how to clean up
kids
the bathroom.
don't even know how to separate the colored from the whites. You talking about washing. You tell them up and go separate the clothes.
And I kind of...
What's that?
I kind of figured that out. Like, oh, okay. Like, there's a lot of folks out there that really don't teach their kids shit. You know, my son, he know how to wash dishes. He know how to do all of that.
You instilled that in him, and that's what's lacking out here, though.
Now, I would say this: I was probably slacking in terms of like really making him do that shit a lot, or like making that his like daily responsibility, like it was for me. I had to come home every day, and the dishes that was left from breakfast, I had to clean them dishes up. By the time my mother got home, I had the garbage out. You know. So he never had like just that. Oh,
ain't none of them have it hard as us. You know what I'm saying? I always say,
right, but
I said that about my child, but
he knows how to do that stuff.
Yeah, you still teach them things. You know. But nah, they ain't have it hard as us because we be like, I ain't gonna whoop my kid ass for that.
I told her, hey man, you know, you out here and you sharing this bathroom with these 3 other cats in this dorm. Hey man, don't be embarrassing me.
Yeah, nah, like
don't be embarrassing your family.
What kind of house you lived in and shit?
I was like, you know what to do, so make sure you do it. And he's like, and it's, you know, we went to visit one day. I wanted to see that bathroom because it's like 4 of them. They share like the same bathroom, and they have to clean it. I ain't no telling what this shit might look like. 4 18, 19-year-old dudes. Yeah. Ain't no telling what that shit might look like. It was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's cool. So it let you know the other guys probably came from a good household too. Because he had probably been a mention to you, like, man, this motherfucker nasty and shit. You know what I'm saying? So
and that's what I told him. I was like, don't you be the nasty motherfucker.
Yeah. And just to go to another rest in peace to Shaquilla Robinson. Rest in peace to Xavier Lofton. You know what I'm saying? So
man, I'm getting tired of having to say that.
We say that a lot. And it's young folks. You know that?
Yeah,
it's mostly young. It's mostly young.
Everything ahead of them, man.
It's violent too. It ain't like you dying from natural shit and all that. So we just got to do better, as you always say. G, you gotta love one another, man. But
that Shaquilla Robinson, them so-called friends supposed to get locked the fuck up.
Yeah, you know, and I'm going to another kid and shit who committed a violent act. You seen the story with the young 10-year-old in Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
man.
And he got access to his mom gun on purposely, and he shot her in the head and killed her because she told him she wasn't going to order him a virtual reality set off Amazon.
Yeah, a headset off of Amazon.
And now they want to charge him as an adult.
He said it was that and that she woke him up a half hour early that day. So just reading like what the family has been saying.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
That kid got problems. This whole idea of we have children that get charged as children, adults that get charged as adults, but in certain instances we're going to charge this child as an adult. That don't even make logical sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because either a child is a child,
as a child or he adult.
And some of these things that physically a child can do, that don't make it the same mentally. That a child has the ability mentally, the ability mentally to understand what has transpired and what has done. And to me, just what you read so far about this kid, this kid got problems.
Yeah, they say he was like torturing the animals.
One of his family members said he had like 5 different voices that had been talking to him.
Young boy.
Kid been in therapy and been in treatment for this shit for some time now.
Yeah.
If anything, if ever there was a case that said to me that a kid needed help and not to just be thrown into the system, it's now. But, he a black kid, so, like we talked about the kid up in our town that had the mass shooting, he in his 20s, and that, please, could you do us a favor and stop the car? And, he had now he living up in a real affluent area, but they trying to tell us how much difficulty he had. Daddy had run for mayor, but his mother left him in the car when he was a toddler, and he's been having some problems. And like I said, that motherfucker been a problem for a long time.
Yeah,
and ain't nobody thought twice about fucking with him in terms of some of the crazy shit he had been doing. Now he do some shit real crazy. Now you trying to tell us that, he got problems.
Yeah, I don't agree with, it's tough. It's tough. I was like, man, he killed his mama. He got the gun purposely. But my thing, when I knew he wasn't, I never think you should try to make an adult. He killed his mama. That's deep. That's fucked up. But once his grandma said, I'm sorry for killing my mom. Because afterwards, people, to give you some background of it, the virtual reality said that she wouldn't order. After he killed her, he still went into her Amazon account and ordered the game himself. And then once his mom was dead and he was with his grandma now as they were investigating, he told his grandmother he's sorry he killed his mom, but his game came yet. So they let me know right there. Come on now. He don't even know the consequences of what he did and shit. So you can't be really charging him as an adult like that.
It just seems to me that these kind of cases, they let the result determine how everything goes. Because if he had got caught with the gun and he had been shooting at and he had missed everybody, how would he have been charged?
Oh yeah, they wouldn't charge.
You know what I mean? So you make they let the result be the determining factor as to how they charge him, and that's what they don't change the fact that the kid is trouble. That kid got issues. That kid clearly has some mental issues. And what does charging him as an adult do? How does that help him? Because even then, he's 10 years old. They said he could get what they talking about charging him with. He could get 60 years in prison. So, okay, what do you do with a 10-year-old?
You don't even know what the fuck going on.
You know what I mean? And we've let these court systems first. They want to lock up an 18-year-old. All right. Then it's a 16-year-old. Now it's a 14, 15-year-old. Now they want to take the keys and throw away a 10-year-old boy. Where does it stop? So if a 6-year-old gets mad and he's seen guns and stuff being shot in his family, and he gets mad and shoots his father over something, what should you do with him? You charge him as an adult too?
No, I don't agree with a 6.
You know what I mean? Where does it stop?
As an adult.
And all of this shit and all these experiments don't happen to nobody but black folks. To black kids, they ain't out here trying to do that to no white kids. They trying to get them the help that they need.
Yeah, you need help at 6 and 10. At 10 years old, you think guns still toy. You don't know the consequences. Like, you actually kill her, she ain't gonna come. You don't know that shit at 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. He probably thinking he'll see his mama down the line somewhere. Like, he don't know. He's still asking about a fucking video game. So that lets you know.
That little boy is mentally ill.
Yeah.
And it's clear. It's clear. It's family. That's all
and let me speak this too. You know what I'm saying? I always got to go and just the whole realm. That's why when we see signs like this, people, we can't ignore this with our kids or whoever, because it can lead to that. You see people have signs of mental illness, you need to be trying to get these kids some help. Can't be letting them around here just torturing animals. They say putting like gasoline in balloons and shit like that. And this is what this leads to. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to get these people the help they need. You can't just figure, oh, you going to come out of it because that ain't normal shit. You know what I'm saying? So you can't ignore these signs.
It's obvious that his brain is working a little differently than everybody else.
You can't be ignoring, because the family saying this, and I know how these motherfuckers, because you know how they is. Like you said with this court system, he's a young black guy, young black child, and they gonna be like, well, why you guys didn't give him the help he need and all? You know that the shit they gonna try to say and shit like that. Well, who fault is that? You know what I'm saying?
Like I done heard of families, white families that have a kid that's so troubled and so problematic that at night they had to have locks on the inside so they can lock him out of their bedroom so they can sleep because they be scared that this motherfucker's gonna do something to them in the middle of the night.
Shit.
And they still got this motherfucker in the house.
That's so crazy. Yeah, you gotta get them help. I ain't finna be a prisoner in my own fucking home.
I mean, I love you and all, but dog.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. Don't let your love.
Especially if you got other kids and whatnot, you can't.
And the words of teenage Hunter, what's love got to do with it? And I told you before, I have lost a cousin with that, and they knew this guy had mental illness and he wound up killing my cousin. It was his stepson that he raised. You know what I'm saying? So. You got to, once you see that, and I know you be like, I ain't nothing wrong with him, boy, go sit down. Once you see certain shit, you know when shit out the norm. And I know people be embarrassed, don't want to tell people put their son in home. Fuck that. That can cause, like you said, you got other children around here. He can burn the whole house up and shit. He's not mentally stable. So, I don't think he should be charged as no adult. I think they should, like you said, be trying to get this guy some help. This boy, young child, some help. And, man, that's unfortunate. His mom lost her life at the hands of her child. And because he said he was mad she woke him up early and then she didn't order him up.
Yeah, went by him a headset.
Yeah, virtual reality set. But, he shouldn't be getting shot at stuff. When do it stop? A 5-year-old, he like you said, he got a gun and shot it. Are we going to give him 60 years? He a fucking 5-year-old. He's just getting potty trained.
Because, add to that all the other things that we've been talking about. That we've talked about on past shows, the gun culture in this country, the prevalence of violence in media, the violence in music, on the internet. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
So everywhere. Now when you see the fruits of that shit and that come against a kid who's already had mental illness issues, and then it end up like this, Now he got to be an adult.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logical sense.
You can't put even a 10-year. He ain't even a teenager yet, so you can't even. I can see like 17, 16 maybe, but
it don't make
10 years old.
But they do that to try to make the public feel like they doing something.
That ain't right.
And especially
can't get 10 years, 60 years.
Especially when white folks see it, and it's a black kid and white folks see it. Oh yeah, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Because to me, it's all about pushing that narrative that somehow black folks are just inherently more violent, so we have to treat them differently than we treat white folks who are violent.
Hey, violent is bad.
You know what I mean? And then white folks can always justify the crazy, violent ass shit that they do. And, whether it's January 6th or these mass shootings or whatever it is, white folks always have a reason why that's different. And
no sirree, Bob.
And it ain't. Like I was watching the guy, he was talking about like over in England, like these different areas and like the number of stabbings and shit that they've been having. People getting stabbed.
I always heard about that.
Because they don't have guns over there like that. Yeah. So people are stabbing people to death. And these are all white folks.
Yeah.
They all white folks. So what's the justification for that? And this guy, he was saying that he was like they try to look at that or tell you that shit is different, but they want to tell you that when black folks commit crimes of violence, even though black folks have to deal with more stress, have to deal with more poverty, have to deal with more of the negative aspects of society than anybody else, they want to make you think that there's no reason for that we're just inherently violent, that we just wild and crazy and shit, and
Gorillas in the mist.
and throughout society that has served white folks, to help that narrative has help them institute racism against us with the thought, or keeping the thought in white folks' minds that we need to do this because of who they are. You see the same thing in South Africa. You see it everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. No, but like I said, you see signs of that shit, you need to get your people help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We probably can avoid some of this, but should he be charged at the door? I don't care if he black or white. No, he's 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we do feel like it's a bit racism playing into it because he's a black young boy. So it's just bullshit. Like you said, when do we stop it and shit? That boy probably still barely stopped pissing in the bed. Shit at that age. I know motherfucker pissing in the bed at that age. You go charge him as an adult as soon as he do some shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you see some signs, like we said, mental illness, shit is real. And the stuff his family has said, yeah, he was dealing with some issues that he should have had some help beforehand, but he still shouldn't be charged as an adult. Now that we know that, get him some help. You know what I'm saying? 10-year-old, 60 years. He don't even know how to count to 60 probably. You know what I'm saying? So come on now. We can't do better than that. And I got something else, G. Go back to the guy who got the biggest franchise it is in American sports, Jerry Jones. Did you see about that photo? It was an old 1957 photo. They had a young Jerry Jones from the Dallas Cowboys, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He was at some kind of racial tension where he was trying to keep the black guys from entering the school.
So yeah, they were integrating his school in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Right. 1957.
And so he was in the crowd observing this. I don't think there's any evidence that he was like throwing rocks or nothing like that.
Right.
But he was there, and so they got this picture of him there. I don't like the fact that he's got enough power and money that
they ain't even talking about this.
Yeah, they just kind of they don't even make him on to talk about it.
I bet when people hear that, they'll be talking about something. I ain't even know about that. I bet. Shit.
That being said, how many of us could stand up to if, like, the worst thing we ever did in our life was on tape, there's a picture of it that we've ever done in our life? How many of us could stand up to that? You know what I mean? Like the worst shit you ever did.
Oh no.
And all of a sudden there's a picture of that shit or a video of that shit.
Yeah, tell my ass up to it.
Right? So, like I said in the past, every saint has a past, every sinner has a future.
Fact.
So, are we only a sum of the worst things we've ever done, or is there the possibility at true redemption? Because there are people.
I mean,
there are black folks who've had relationships with Jerry Jones, like Pac-Man Jones. He's like, fuck that. That's my man, and he didn't. I'm a cowboy for life.
What do you think about that? What Pac-Man Jones said?
I can't discount what he said.
Does he know him personally?
Because he know him personally. He done had interaction with that man, and that man has done shit to his benefit. Okay. And he said his statement was, Jerry Jones did more for black athletes than anybody in the NFL.
I mean, he in the NFL. I have a hard time arguing with him about that. He in the NFL.
Now, juxtapose that against Jerry Jones will never want to hire nobody of high black in that organization. So, I mean, I guess people want to say because he in that picture that he a racist cracker.
Well, what did you think about? I mean,
but I don't know.
It's not far fetched. Hey, listen,
and this is my impression. This is purely my impression. Jerry Jones, cool with black athletes. He pay motherfuckers. He do certain things, but his shit got limits. How far he go in terms of black folks. As long as they at a certain level, at a certain point, he gonna fuck with him to a certain level, certain point. So he ain't grooming nobody in his organization
be on an equal battlefield with him.
To come up there and
take over for him.
The head of scouting. He ain't doing.
So
that.
you do believe that? So you do? Think
because at the end of the day, he an old ass white man from a certain part of the world, and so he got limitations in his mind.
You went into my thing.
Where you think he met?
You went into my thing where I was gonna say. I mean, people already call the NFL more than any American sport the good old boys club. So
let me give you this quick example. I remember years ago because the discussion about black coaches and black head coaches in the NFL been going on for 25 years. Right. And I can't remember this guy's name, but he was like an offensive coordinator, I want to say with Green Bay back in the day, way back. So the Cowboys were looking for a head coach. And so this guy's name, the media was saying was in the running or in the mix. And I can remember sitting in my truck riding like to work or something. And I just said to myself, ain't no fucking way that Jerry Jones is going to hire no brother to run his team.
You were saying that.
And good old D. And he ain't doing that. These motherfuckers can talk that shit all they want to. He ain't doing that.
So you think he racist to an extent? You're half racist or what? Like, what the fuck?
Like I said, he may not even he would tell you no, but
of course he gonna tell him.
But black motherfucker only gonna be so far. As long as you in your role and you staying in your motherfucking lane, he gonna do everything well within that realm to help you out. I bet he didn't loan motherfuckers money. I bet he didn't help motherfuckers out of jams. I bet he done did a lot of shit to help black motherfuckers. Only to a certain point. But when a black motherfucker is showing some promise and some ability, he do like a whole lot of white folks do. He gonna make sure he squash that shit. Or he gonna get it the fuck away from him.
I mean, because even when I think
we see that on jobs, we see that everywhere. So what would make anybody think that like Stephen A. Jerry, motherfucker, but you ain't there fucking with Jerry Jones every day.
Yeah.
And you in your lane, and you had interactions with him, and he'll have a conversation with you, and he'll give you an interview, and he'll do that. But say you ask him for a job in his front office. What he gonna say?
I don't know, but like you said, his history tells that you ain't gonna get in the front office and shit. You just looking at history. I mean, even when I seen the photo, I mean, the NFL owners has this name that people have gave them out here. They call them the Good Old Boys Club. So when I seen that in 1957, a white guy, 1957 in Arkansas.
It kind of put it all in perspective.
It's not far-fetched that you be like, he was down some racial bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's like, when I seen it, honestly, I was like, y'all surprised.
Well,
shit.
And let me say this. I've seen similar situations, and I can't remember. It was a similar situation. I can't remember if it was in Mississippi or where it was. It might have been Little Rock, but there's a picture of this white girl, and she's just out there yelling. These black kids are getting off the bus and going to school. This white girl, it's like it became kind of a famous picture. She just out there in her little skirt. She just rage.
She see some black kids and shit.
She just rage.
Like, y'all get the fuck from over here.
So some years down the road, she's changed, and she's actually become like friends with this lady.
Oh yeah.
And she was just talking about just how.
When she was young and didn't know no better.
She's just whenever she sees that picture, it just hurts her so bad that she
I
actually
gotta look that up.
had that shit in her head. It was like a documentary. I can't remember where. But she was just like mortified, and she works towards civil rights. You know what I mean? Because she's changed. You know, and so people had the ability to come to a greater understanding about what's going on, and we see it all the time. People online talking about how, you know, this discussion around critical race theory, and you know, you got white, well, you know, they just want to make white kids feel guilty and all that. But first of all, white folks need to understand that this history that they get in school is, boy, a lot of it is bullshit. It's just this built up ass narrative to make white folks look like they ain't never did shit to nobody.
Right.
You know, like they just came upon this shit and they just earned it. Like, you go back to talking about Christopher Columbus, all the millions and millions of people that he done killed, whether it's in the United States, you know, Native Americans here or natives down in Hispaniola and all over. That motherfucker's a murderer. But you say that, man, the Knights of Columbus and all that, they go crazy. No, Christopher Columbus discovered the U.S. and he's this, like he this big ass damn hero. That motherfucker, they killed millions and millions of people. Millions. You look at the Catholic Church, they history, they own shit from all over the world that they done pillaged from all over the world.
And made it as they own.
But they develop these narratives, and white folks develop these narratives, and the narrative is that they did everything
and worked for everything,
and worked for everything, and you know, and you ask white folks if they know certain people in, you know, in history, and it's just the fact that they always call it Black history, like it's some shit that happened to the side, like where this real history was going on while that was happening. There was this black shit. These motherfuckers, that shit was just on the side. It don't really fucking count. The fuck is that, man? It's black people, man. That at George Washington Carver, he saved the cotton industry, showing them how to rotate crops, because cotton is horrible to the soil. He helped them. He helped save they shit. Damn. You talking about Lewis Latimer? He helped Edison invent the fucking light bulb. The filament that the light bulb.
You tell me that little Edison. I gotta look him up.
That helped that light bulb light. He developed that working in Edison's lab, so that light bulb lasts the way it lasts. You know, Crispus Attucks, he was the first person, a black man was the first person killed in the Boston Massacre. One of the first steps to U.S. independence from Britain. Yeah. You know, it's countless numbers of black people all along the way that have helped tremendously towards getting American society where it is. And they don't want to hear about that shit. They want to just think it was white folks killing, and the Indians was savages, and we did all of this.
Savages and shit.
Oh, get the fig. Stop. You know, the reason they call them cowboys because they was all black.
I never knew that. Is it?
You know what I'm saying? Some of them. Bill
That's why
Pickett,
they put the boys on it.
Bill Pickett, one of the most storied cowboys in the history of cowboys. And I saw a white boy, a cowboy who, you know, he used to be a bull rider and whatnot, talking about that he showed a picture of his great grandfather, and there was a black guy in the second row of guys on a horse. He said, that was Bill Pickett. He worked for my grandfather. He was a hell of a cowboy. Damn. My grandfather was a cowboy in Texas.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
So that's where the cowboy came from, because they were all black.
That's what they say.
That's what they are. I gotta look into that.
That's what they say.
I haven't even heard that shit. I ain't saying it's far fetched.
So now they trying to call it critical race theory. First of all, you can call it whatever you want to, but let's just be comfortable understanding the fact that we talking about telling the fucking truth. Yeah. And now if that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, damn. Guess what? I'm uncomfortable every goddamn day I wake up.
Big fact.
When I go to my job, I'm uncomfortable with some of the ways I've been treated. You know, when I go, white folks, black folks uncomfortable. You go to a place, ain't nothing but white folks. Guess what? Feel a little bit uncomfortable because you don't know what the fuck might happen. You know, so for white folks to act like they should never have to feel uncomfortable with learning the damn truth.
And that's what I'm saying. When I seen the picture of Jerry Jones, I was like, I don't know what he was doing there, but would y'all be surprised at a white guy in 1957 in Arkansas being racist?
Hell no. And not that Jerry Jones is the worst motherfucker in the world.
I ain't saying he couldn't have changed some of his ways, like you said that young lady did in the picture and shit. She hated that she act like that. I mean, Jerry Jones was like 14 years old, so
but now,
I say he ain't changed some of his ways.
But if Jerry Jones came up and he said, you know, I am truly embarrassed by that shit.
And that's my thing. When they do come out, y'all trying to sweep it.
And I know how it looks, and it's probably a lot how you think it is. He said, but, you know, that's where we were, or that's where I was at a particular time.
And that's history. My thing.
And I've come to understand that it just ain't that way, and that shit wasn't right. And I'm like I say, I'm embarrassed, and I hope the world can forgive me and forgive the misgivings or forgive the mistakes of a 14-year-old.
And that's my thing. That was my
now,
thing.
if he said that shit, I'm like, man, dude, you good. You know what I'm saying?
But you trying to sweep it under the rug. That's my shit. You trying to act like it didn't happen.
And see, when that happens, and that's the attitude that a motherfucker takes, it makes me think or feel he don't want to say nothing because he don't want to lie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what it makes me think. When you don't want to speak on it, you come out and say, man, I fucked up. I was young. I ain't know no better then.
But see, he don't want to say that.
He's not going to say that.
Because he don't want to lie.
Yeah, because it's a lie.
The truth is, fuck that. Hell yeah, I was there.
Guess what?
I should have been throwing rocks.
Guess what? The motherfucker, he don't know if all these brothers who was in that picture is dead or not. And the minute he say that, they going to be like, that motherfucker with the first one throwing rocks. So like you said, he don't want to speak on it because he don't want to lie. He don't know these guys might come out and be like, bullshit. That motherfucker with the main one throwing rocks and shit.
He don't want to.
So he ain't going to speak on it, period.
He don't want to say a word.
You know how it be like, no comment.
I may be wrong because he has a change. He's had a change in mindset.
Oh yeah, you got a change of heart. Mindset.
And he just wants this shit to go away because he want to be able to be his new self and don't want to talk about that shit.
But once shit come, you gotta. Hey,
but I don't know. Up. Which is it? Is it that he don't want to get up there and apologize and lie to the people? Or he's that embarrassed.
It ain't that far fetched from him being racist. Like I said, at that point, I don't know what he is now, and you still have your belief that he only gonna let your ass get to a certain point in his organization as a black man. So it's still.
I just think the history showed that
it's still red flags. That's still a red flag. It ain't like you all the way clean, my brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a red flag. You know what I'm saying? So. I mean, like we always say, we just gotta look out for each other, man. Ain't nobody gonna look out.
I thought LeBron's comment about this shit was on point. He's like,
yeah, cause y'all ain't asked me shit about that.
Yeah, y'all used to be nothing about that. You
ask
wouldn't
me what
ask
I
me
think.
All this Kyrie shit.
And you know he was a big Cowboy fan.
And Yeezy and all that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't ask me about all that shit.
Ask me about that shit too. Just be even. LeBron saying just be even.
Ask me about all of that.
I ain't mad about y'all asking me about Kyrie, but ask me about this motherfucker too. That's it. Yeah. See what I got to say about that shit. Y'all don't want to do that.
Because I'm sure
And guess what? All them reporters was quiet at the church mouse. He was saying that shit. Because he was right.
Because I'm sure LeBron done had some interaction with Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
at
he
some
was a big
point
Cowboy fan, man.
Cowboy fan.
So, yeah.
Because he even said that was like his favorite sport.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it is. Just be, like you said, just be fair. And them reporters didn't say, oh, yeah, they couldn't say shit.
Nope.
It
was definitely quiet.
He stopped them. He said, before we get out of here, I got something for y'all and shit. He stopped them. And he looking like, I was wondering coming over here that y'all gonna ask me about this shit. None of y'all asked me about it.
Yeah, and
they ain't had shit to say.
Well, and then the feed we watched, was on MSNBC, and Rex Chapman was like, yeah, he was absolutely
He's right. Which is a white guy, Rex Chapman.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely right.
If you gonna ask him about the other shit, ask him about a white guy too. And a racial tension picture that's surfaced. Don't try to and sweep it under the rug. That's all. And like you said, Jerry Jones, he might have had. We ain't saying he made a bunch of black motherfucking millionaires and shit, but hey, that picture didn't look good.
They all could help him though.
Oh yeah. Oh, they made him billions. He made them million. They made them billions. So, that's how that go. But
so I don't know. We'll see. Jerry.
We'll see.
Jerry,
Holla at me, Jerry.
He old as hell. Maybe he'll come on the show, man. We can holler at him.
Yeah,
man.
right. Jerry, don't be like, man, get your
Don't be scared, man. We ain't gonna hurt you.
Hey, I got some other topic, man. Hey, you heard Deion Sanders, the Jackson State alumni, prime time, Neon Deion, man, one of the greatest athletes I ever watched, man. But
they say Deion, man, wearing a 4-2 in blue jeans.
Deion's the bad motherfucker.
He's a bad boy. He couldn't tackle worth the shit.
That clothing speed. He said they ain't pay him to tackle. They paid me to close on motherfuckers. I don't do
he
that.
could do that.
You got to catch it for me to tackle you, shit. So that was his whole thing. He did his job. He was a motherfucker, Deion.
He first of all, it's playing in that league, as physical as it is, just to be out there, ain't no sissies out there.
Hell nah. You ain't not playing on that.
You got guys who are more physical than others. But the guys with that elite level skill set, they don't have to do all of that. Like you said, if I don't let you catch it, it's irrelevant whether I can tackle you or not.
And a lot of times they weren't throwing at that motherfucker.
And he was intercepting that shit, running that shit back, and outrunning everybody out there.
Dude, a lot of time they weren't even throwing that motherfucker.
It's only one person I ever seen that really ate him up pretty good. And that was Jerry Rice. And
we talking about the GOAT.
And he even say that. He's like, ooh.
We talking about the GOAT.
He's like, that Jerry Rice is something different.
Hey, we talking about the motherfucking GOAT. So,
but that's enough of that. But we was talking about him in relation to his potential move.
Yeah, from Jackson State. He was a big advocate for young black top recruits going to HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? Going to HBCU. What year is he in Jackson State as far as coaching?
Wow.
I ain't
second or third. Yeah, we need to look that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up this right quick and see what year Deion. But
So I know he's got the. I know he's pissed because he wanted to get looked at for the job down in Florida State, I think. And then there's been a couple other openings. I think Clemson he was in, might have been in, he was kind of mentioned in that conversation. I think he might have been mentioned in the Nebraska conversation. But I guess they have given him an offer from Colorado. If I'm not wrong.
It's Colorado. It's Colorado.
So I guess my first off top, the questions that we're asking him or asking about him in this situation.
He went in 2020, so 2 years.
Okay. So will we be asking a white dude them same questions?
Hey, I ain't talking about the white dude right now, me personally. But, hey.
So you think that there's a little that we should expect a little bit different from him?
I expected him to have a longer tenure. I mean, he was talking big shit. Like
he been talking plenty of
HBCU,
shit.
and he got a fast-star recruit who came out because of him.
Yeah.
Because of him, this guy was going to Florida State. He could have went to Alabama, and I'm sure he would have went to them schools if it weren't for prime time really recruiting him. So how should he feel? You told me we're going to big up this HBCU. We're going to get more recruits. We're going to compete with them same levels. So when you were saying we're going to compete with the same level as the Alabamas and shit, that made me think you just talking shit. You ain't really believe that.
But this is the question I'm asking. Every coach talk that shit. Lane Kiffin.
Hey, I'm talking
Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. He talking that same shit.
That still was major colleges though. We talking about this HBCU.
But you
ain't go to another HBCU.
Lane Kiffin been the head coach at USC.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin talks some
shit. He's the head coach at Tennessee.
Hey, them major programs too though.
Nonetheless, he talked the same shit.
But you talking about HBCUs. Why you couldn't go to another HBCU if that's what your thing? And he said it ain't about the money. So what is it about? It's about the.
It's always about the
then.
money. And they all.
But that's what he said.
But I'm telling you, but that's my point. They all say that same shit.
So I gotta call out on his bullshit.
Money, it's about the young men.
We know we done kicked Lane Kiffin ass before.
They all say that shit.
So he full of shit, basically.
Of course.
Okay, then that's all I was telling people. Like I feel like you full of shit. You got this 5-star recruit. This guy could have went to and Channing.
And that boy ain't crazy. That boy know the game.
Yeah.
And the only reason that that shit happened, he ain't just go to to Jackson State for free. That motherfucker got a NIL hooked up. That motherfucker getting paid.
Yeah.
And he should.
But don't be shoveling this shit on me, man.
He may not be getting quite as many perks as he would get going to Alabama or USC
Florida
or
State.
Michigan.
Because remember he was committed to Florida State and then he threw the thing and he went to Jackson State and shit.
Yeah, so.
But you ain't even did a good year with this guy. You got this guy. I'm sure he did, but.
Man, that guy ain't thinking about that shit, man.
You full shit.
He ain't thinking about that shit. That boy know the game.
I don't believe that.
All these kids know the game, man.
I would have went to Alabama, shit out the gate. What the fuck I'm gonna come here for? Damn, you ain't give me a good year. I don't believe
he's
that.
He's a defensive back too, right?
I think he's a cornerback.
Yeah, Alabama can sure use him because Alabama to let a motherfucker run past him for 5 touchdowns.
That's his name, Travis Hunter. But I mean, I always tell people do what's best for you, but hey, man, stop shoving me that bullshit. When you say you get a good offer and they come with some money, I'm out. Yeah, okay.
Nah, I'm not saying, he might not take this Colorado job.
He's taking it.
You think he is?
He had a big press conference.
Oh, he said he is taking it?
Yeah. Okay. He had a big press conference about it already. And that's what I'm saying. He talked to the players. Yeah, it's online. It's on YouTube.
See, I remember prime time.
Colorado ain't even know how.
As a college player and as a pro player, and he always been
shit talk.
He always.
Yeah.
That's like his thing.
You ain't lying.
That motherfucker had reality shows and shit.
You ain't lying.
He always been that dude.
You ain't lying.
Any kid in their house and he come to recruit them, all they got to do is Google him. And he a bullshit. He always been that.
He always been a slick talker.
He
always been a slick talker.
Yeah, then he all out here talking about how these kids, they ain't dogs and all that. Motherfucker, stop.
Yeah.
He
has always been a shit talker, though.
Always.
Yeah.
And then he now we just got to do kind of talking about how, he wasn't no tackling. He wasn't never considered like no physical guy in the league. But then he talking shit about how everybody else a bitch. Like these kids, they all bitches and shit. Motherfucker.
So you do have some kind of gripes with his ass at times. But no, I mean.
To me, a lot of that shit is just unnecessary.
Yeah, you take the big contract, which I know a lot of y'all gonna do anyway. From the jump, like you said, I know, I'm like, yeah, soon that motherfucker get good offers, his ass gonna bail on their ass. But I'm here to stay. That's why I just call you out on your bullshit. I know what it is already. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the Travis Hunter did know what it is, but I know what the fuck it is. I know soon your ass get a big, and that's what Channing Crowder be telling them on the Privy podcast a lot of times. Like, y'all talking all that shit about HBCUs. Yeah, okay, motherfucker.
Yeah, good luck with
you
that.
give my son a better chance make it to the NFL when he go to these big ass colleges.
And Travis Hunter been getting that energy since he was in 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
He been elite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He ain't just started being elite or identified as elite.
He recruited heavy coming out of grammar school, probably.
You know what I mean? So he been around that bullshit, and he saw that as an opportunity to kind of forge a niche for himself in terms of his brand. I went to, I
was down for the cause.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Oh, I'm sure he's finna jump in the transfer portal right now.
He might
get up out of there.
He might.
I think he will.
But they undefeated. And it ain't like they going to the football playoff.
Yeah, exactly.
But he done put together a good squad.
Because everybody want to have that chance to play on that level when you playing that sport.
Yeah,
so.
and all them kids want to play. They want to play, be the best, and play against the best, and have and like you said, China Crowd and them was saying, kid gonna have a better opportunity to get to the NFL, playing in the SEC, playing in the Pac-10, playing in the Big Ten. Playing
just
playing in ACC.
It's just a fact.
It's just a fact.
Just a fact.
And the HBCUs thrived and sent a lot of kids to the NFL back in the day when the kids didn't have access to go to them schools, them bigger schools. But them bigger schools, they was like, man, all the ballers is over here and shit. We got to get some of them.
Fact.
You know, and so, Bear Bryant, they was like, this was, I can't attribute this necessarily to Bear Bryant, but it was a coach back in the day that said, well, whichever team gets one to run that ball, we can all have to get one to catch him.
Right. Say we gonna have to get one to catch him. But hey, yeah, Prime, you my man. Like I said, you one of the greatest athlete I watch, but I gotta call you out on your bullshit. You only did 2 years, nigga. Ain't like, well, I've been here 10 years. And nigga, like, you ain't even finished out the second year.
Well, like they were saying, like you go to like Alabama, these big schools, they weight room costs $7 million.
More than this school got.
You know what I mean? And so, I mean, they got HBCUs are fantastic, particularly educationally.
You just being honest.
And so, like for that next tier of kid that wants to play and is a decent player, can go there, get a good degree, and have a successful future, cool. But to try to think that these HBCUs are gonna start they gonna be able to reach a level, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but that it's just gonna be this
way away.
Them other schools, they got a big head start. Alabama got a big motherfucking head start on Jackson State. Hey, shit, Jackson State. That town, they ain't even had no water in that damn town.
She said they didn't. Shit.
I talked to one of our guys.
My mama know from down that way. That's where they from.
I talked to one of our guys. He's like, well, his son go to Jackson State, but he in the band. He's like, well,
right, yeah.
He said, well, the band big deal. So he said they had
deal.
everything they needed. He said he had water stacked up in the room, but motherfuckers couldn't take a shower for a few days. It was fucked up.
And we talking about like today's.
That ain't happening in Tuscaloosa.
Hell no.
The whole town might not have no damn water.
Motherfucker.
The whole town might not have no water.
But that school gonna have some motherfucking water and
man,
shit. They gonna send us some special pumps.
Hey, if them white folks got to carry that motherfucking water to that campus in buckets, goddammit, it's happening. Because that football team gonna be good.
Yo, that crazy.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Roll Tide, War Eagle. You think Auburn? You think they?
Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, Michigan. Michigan water be fucked up. I bet that school shit ain't fucked up. Shit.
Hey man, look.
All the motherfucking shit.
And the only part I hate is that not enough of them kids get their degrees.
Yeah.
Coming up out of them schools. But you can't argue the fact that from a football perspective, they take good care of them kids.
I'm a black man. You a black man.
But they allow them kids to just be there and just get enough credits and not.
If J.R. had opportunities, go to Alabama and all that jack, you gonna be like, hey. And that's all Cheddar Crowd. You people be trying to argue with him. He's like, hey.
Oh yeah.
My son going to Alabama.
Because at that point, the degree part of it and all of that, that's gonna be my job to make sure that all this shit line up the way it needs to.
That football,
Oh yeah.
You got a full ride? Yeah, you going to Alabama, LSU, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You going to no goddamn Jackson State. And like I said, HBCUs.
Now if he was in the band or something like that,
that's fine. Yeah.
But
if you had a real shot to NFL, this is where you going. You a 5-star recruit?
Yeah.
Your ass going over here.
Oh, he going to one of them schools. Michigan,
like I said, LSU, Auburn, Ole Miss, and some shit. So, I mean, Florida, Miami, you going to one of them motherfucking shit. But, hey.
Man, them's just facts, man. People hate to hear that, but them's just facts.
Yeah, it's just a real deal. It is what it is, man. You got
and HBCUs got them. They gonna be fine, and they gonna get some better kids.
Yeah,
but
you got a long way, like you said, to compete with that.
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa, Alabama. No shit, got a long way to go.
Hey man, they got enough money to go out there in the middle of that lake and burn a hole in the middle of that motherfucker. Like,
but-
I heard a guy say, he said they got enough money to sell out a wet mule running against the wind.
Hey, you know prime time, you my guy, but I gotta call you out. Call it out.
Oh, man,
If it was G Dillon and he told me that shit and then he left and went with another broadcast, I called him out. Like, that ain't what you said. So
Prime, we know you're going to get your cheddar, baby.
Yeah. I'll be like, G, I know you got that check. You gotta keep feeding me that bullshit. Cause only reason I'm getting mad is you feed me bullshit. You tell me truth, be like, hey nigga, you know what it was. I'm like, yeah, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, man, we ain't gonna hold it all day, man. You know what I'm saying? I just had to talk Mr. Jerry Jones. Yeah, I think you was down some bullshit too. I mean, you a product of your environment. That's just what I think. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's why white folks was thinking back then.
1957 in Arkansas. Come on now.
And there's a lot of old white men still feeling that and thinking that, no matter what they tell you.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Of course, they ain't gonna tell you.
It's hard. That shit is ingrained in you.
Yeah.
It's
Jerry
hard
Jones, what he,
90?
90? I'm gonna come up in the middle of that.
He 80 something.
He come in the middle in Arkansas.
He looking like the Crip
In
people.
Arkansas, so you already know that's what was going on. That was just natural. So if you change, man, that's cool too. But you was down some bullshit. I don't care what nobody says. That's what I feel. You know what I'm saying?
So if you change, man, tell us you changed.
Exactly. Don't try to hide it and shit.
Man, why you keeping it from us?
Yeah. So we ain't gonna hold y'all all day, man. We gonna get what you got to say to people, G Dillon?
Hey, man, I just want y'all to do what I always say to do. Love yourselves, love one another. Treat everybody like you want to be treated.
You know it.
And have a happy holiday
Hey, we're going to trademark that, man. Treat people if nobody ain't got it, man. I know they got it. That G Dillon saying, man. We're going to get some shirt made with that. Treat people how you want to be treated, man. G Dillon with the quotations around it. But, yeah, man. Yeah, treat everybody good, man. Stop all this fucking violence out here, man. It's sad. Like G said, we can go through these episodes, man. Probably 70% of them, we talking about rest in peace to somebody. And it all been violent acts. It ain't like people just died in their sleep and shit like that. It's like it been 99% of them been violent acts to young folks at that, man. Y'all ain't even having a chance to live. So we got to stop this violence. And people take mental illness serious. You see a sign and I don't care. It's your son. You want to be embarrassed. You don't want to tell nobody that. You don't want to put him in the home. Man, it's your job to protect your other kids, yourself, your family, because especially when they acting out violent.
And to protect that child, because,
you
know, they out here, man, and the police get involved.
Yeah, and then they going to kill one of them. You know that.
You know, try to get them some help, man.
Yeah, because, I mean.
Damn being embarrassed.
Shit. And, you know, that's what a lot of people, that be their thing. They be embarrassed and shit. Well, motherfucker think I got no motherfucking slow kid, man. It is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? You showing me how good of a parent you are because you getting him the help he needs. So that show me how good of a fuck the ignorant motherfuckers who say elsewhere. They ignorant. You know what I'm saying? So
I say all the time, the last thing in the world I'm worried about is what
a
some
motherfucker think. You always say. With that being said, hey, me and G Dillon don't give a fuck what nobody think. You know what I'm saying? We gonna speak how we speak, and that's what we try to stand out up here, man. We let y'all come up here, and all the guests say what they gotta say, and hey, we're going to speak our mind too, man. You know what I'm saying? Some things we agree on, some things we don't agree on. But, hey, we're going to speak our mind in a respectful way. But we're going to get ready to get up out of here. This is wrapping up episode 22. I'm your host, DJ 1011, with my co-host,
G Dillon.
And we is out of this bitch.